Okay, first and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. His name means He is, He exists, He is to be. Bahashim is coming in the name of. Yahweh Shah is Hebrew for He is deliverer, or He is salvation. Bahashim, coming in the name of. Ruach HaKodash is the Spirit Holy, or Holy Spirit. Double honors unto the elder apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. Peace and salutations to the sincere Akim that preached the likewise doctrine. And salutations to the scattered elect throughout all the nations of the earth. Shalom, Labakarium Shah, Yasharahla. And peace and salutations to the sincere Akwathium, though they be few, the sisters who listen in silence and meekness as the scriptures command to do so. So I'm gonna go straight into it. Some of these the prophecies, the prophetic books. Gonna jump straight into it. I'm gonna start with the book of Isaiah, the 34th chapter. And I'm just going to read on down. This chapter is talking about, basically about Idumea, or Edom. And starting at the first verse. Come near, ye nations, to hear and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as the falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is Edom, and upon the people of my curse to judgment, which is Esau, Edom. Verse 6, the sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. And that's speaking of the thermonuclear destruction that is hastening even more and more every day as we get closer to World War III and to the bombs being dropped in Babylon, which is a.k.a. America, for all the wickedness that is done against mainly the elect of the children of Israel, for their wickedness against us, that, Abaratazah, we have the hopeful elect, Abaratazah, but it's because of the wickedness that they have done against the children of Israel and really throughout all the earth. And this is going to be the judgment that, and the fury, the righteous indignation that Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, pours out upon this land of wickedness, starting with the elite Edomites, Esau, Edom, the elite banking families, the Rothschilds, the Gettys, the Rockefellers, all those central bankers, those, starting with them first. But it's really going to be, for the whole landmass of Babylon because of the wickedness that was, caused against us in this land, So verse 10, it shall not be quenched night or day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. God. Because it's just going to be a desert. It's going to be a barren wasteland, It's just going to be a barren wasteland for the owls and the desert creatures to dwell in, But it's going to burn, and the smoke of it is going to grow up go up forever, Verse 11, but the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it, the owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. These are the people that are in authority over here, these high-ranking officials over here, all these people that have all this wealth and money and have built the wealth and money untold, off the backs of slavery and every wicked thing that was done to the true children of Yasharahla in this land. 13, and thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be an habitation of dragons and a court for owls. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest, and lay, and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh, and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them, and he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever, from generation to generation shall they dwell therein. God. And that's what, elsewhere in the scriptures it says that, it says Babylon, Babylon the Great in Revelation has fallen and has become a desolation, a habitation of devils, and these devils, I guess that could be twofold, because the devil, meaning deceivers, is I mean, look who's in power. Nothing but a deceivers. You got a cabinet full of deceivers, and you got a cabinet, both Senate and the House, and full of nothing but deceivers. A bunch of liars, a bunch of deceptive, wicked souls. But that's Esau. That's Esau, Edom. That's the wicked. That's their lot. That's what they do. That's what Yahweh made them to do. So, but and actually, when it mentions about the owls, these wicked people, everybody knows about the Bohemian Grove now that Alex Jones, which he might be an insider, he might be down with them, like controlled opposition or what have you. But he's the one that did the so-called expose on the Bohemian Grove and sneaking in the Bohemian Grove in California or whatever, and then how they these wicked Edomites they worship the false god Molech, which is the effigy of a 40-foot giant 40-foot owl, and they worship that foolishness and that falsehood, and they don't even understand that, even in so doing, they're just hastening what the scriptures and what prophecy says about it. This is going to be a habitation of owls and a court, for owls, So, they're doing wickedness, but they don't even realize that in doing wickedness and trying to usurp power from these false deities and these false gods, that they're really just doing the will of Yahweh, because this is Yahweh's movie. He's the one that's moving the chess pieces, you know. It's his will, it's his movie, you know, starring his only begotten son, Yahweh. So that's what it is. I'm gonna go back a couple of chapters back to Isaiah 13. This also deals with the coming desolation of Babylon. This is Isaiah 13, starting at the first verse. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Verse 4, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. And that kingdom of nations gathered together that we see the chess pieces being moved is the NATO nations, Russia, and, you know, the whole thing with Iran right now. All these nations with which, you know, through not only this administration but past administrations have gathered up the hate and, you know, just due to their foreign policy and their subjugation and the wickedness, killing untold millions of people that they've done abroad, that this wicked nation has done, you know. And this is, in this chapter, you're going to see the result of their actions, you know. The seeds that they have sown is going to, you know, be given back to them, you know. So a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together, and also this noise has to do with the missiles that's coming to destroy this place. Yahweh of hosts, or the Yahweh of armies, mustereth the host of the battle. God. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Yep. Verse 6, how will ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Yeah, when them bombs hit, if you on the ground, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be, you know, split second. Everything is going to be on fire, you know, including the people, you know. People going to be on fire. Cars going to be on fire. Houses going to be, you know, blown away. Nothing here that you see here is going to last. It's going to be utterly destroyed, you know. And there's going to be no holding back of Yahweh's righteous indignation against this place because of the evil that has taken place in this nation, you know. Everybody's going to be scared. Can you imagine? Because before the destruction comes, everybody's phone is going to be ringing like crazy, you know, because you're going to have the emergency alerts. Most likely they'll have the emergency alert. They'll put out a nationwide alert, perhaps, if, you know, they see it beforehand. But it may not happen, you know. It could just happen swiftly, you know, with you know, because it says, how will ye, verse 6, how will ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand, and it shall come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. So, yeah, there's going to be some sign. There's going to be it may be some advance warning that, hey, there's missiles coming, and they'll be here in 15 minutes. Maybe they'll make an announcement, because I believe, you know, that I think either one of the elders, it might have been a video I saw on Arrows of Indignation, that I think it was the elder Yasharahla was mentioning that you know, they already have a song picked out for when, you know, the bombs are going to come, and they're going to play the song or what have you. to the end of the world, while they try to cower into their bunkers, you know. So, but therefore, verse 7, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. Everybody be holding their stomach, not in absolute unbelief, like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's going to happen? Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. But they, Abaratazah, us of the hopeful elect, if you be a part of that number, Abaratazah, Adawan, we be taken up out of harm's way. So this is going to be what's happening on the ground, This is what's going to be happening amongst the people, those that don't know, that don't know the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, that don't call upon him in truth and sincerity, and that don't believe the 100% doctrine, This is going to be their fate, They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. And who's more arrogant than Esau Edom, Oh, where does it say that? In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Let me finish this though. But that's the spirit too. And will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man the golden wedge of Ophir. And this is talking about the wise men, the men of the Lord, those that know the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, those of the elect men will be a man. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. And this is talking about quite possibly the times that we're living in right now, because you have people from other lands that have come into this country, either to make money and whatnot, and they can kind of see the signs of the times of what's going on. Some of them may be able to, and not even so much seeing the signs of the times as it pertains to the scripture, but just seeing the socioeconomic upheaval of what's going on in America, the foreign policies, now getting into wars, and everything that makes this place more risky, both to do business and to just live in. Many of these people that are from other countries and that have land in other countries, they're going to leave Babylon. They're going to leave this place while they can. Many of the rich that have wealth and have made wealth here, they already have moved out of this place. Verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Yeah, that's just judgment, That's mashapakim. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Man, this is heavy judgment, man. This is heavy judgment. This is right in the throes of Jacob's trouble it's talking about. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. And that's one of the things that the elder Apostle Tahari just did a video on, where he's talking about DJT Nero 47 trying to back out of the situation that he's gotten himself in this country in overseas with Iran. Now, Iran has been preparing for this fight against Babylon the Great, aka America, for the last 20 years, 20 or more years. Maybe it might be close to 40 years, that they've been preparing. But thing is, now he's starting to see, he doesn't have B.B. Milikowski with him, or Benjamin Not a Jew. He's not with him, so he's out there fighting by himself. So they're gonna try to. What they want to do is they want to pay. I believe he said something in the realm of $20 to $25 billion to the Iranians to stop the war and to open up the strait, right? But it says here, according to Isaiah 13:17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for the gold, they shall not delight in it. They won't want money, They won't want money because the mindset of these people that are over there is one that, number one, they're not worried about becoming martyrs. They're not worried about dying. They're not worried about that. They just want to bring the hammer down on Babylon. So they're not interested in any of these fake negotiations that this media is pushing, as if DJT is really in talks with anybody over on that end. Now, I'm not saying that a couple of weeks ago, they may have been trying to reach out to do something like that, but obviously, as it says before, because of the pride on Esau Edom, they wouldn't come to the table and actually give the Iranians what they truly wanted. So there's going to be no paying off, for the damages already accrued, on the Iranians end or the Medes end for what they've already done. Verse 18, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And that is primarily due to what these, what was the first thing that B.B. Milikowski and DJT allowed to happen? They went and struck a school, a school with little children in it, with little girls in it, no doubt, and so of course these people are not going to regard the children of their enemies. It just doesn't make sense, the whole coalition, I guess you could call it, of Pisrael, or the Israelis over there, the IDF and the American forces, this whole, what was it called, Operation Fury, Sudden Fury, whatever. So they didn't regard children in their first strategic strike, so why would they think that their enemies will regard children if they strike them back, in the same manner, It's like you reap what you sow. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And we know how that ended, with burning sulfur and, just explosives, fire, and brimstone, It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. Salakia. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Come on. That's Isaiah 13. That's what Babylon is facing right now. You know, I'm gonna go over to 14 and starting at the 21st verse. Gone. Yep, this is the same thing. Children, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, or Yahweh of armies, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith Yahweh. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith Yahweh of hosts. Yahweh of hosts hath sworn, saying, surely, as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. Done. And that's just talking about midway the World War III. You know, Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to return. Now, no doubt those nations that are named and that were named before that I had mentioned are going to destroy Babylon. But those nations are also going to get destroyed as well, too, in the process. You know, when Yahushai returns and shows up, you know, even the dragons of Arabia, you know, all the armies of the world are going to be utterly destroyed. There's not going to be any more armies. There's not going to be any more armies. There's not going to be no NATO. There's not going to be no EU armies. There's not going to be no Arabian or Arab coalition. It's not going to be none of that, because Yahushua is going to destroy all of them, you know. But no doubt, Babylon is going to get the worst of it, of course. Babylon is going to be utterly destroyed, never to be inhabited again by man. And the land where Jerusalem is going to be destroyed as well, but it's going to be rebuilt. But even those that have warred against each other, they're going to be destroyed as well, because only Yahushua will be left standing. Verse 27, for Yahweh of hosts hath purposed, and who shall disannul it? God. And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? All right. Well, once Yahweh has a purpose to do something, when he's decided to do something, it's nothing that anybody can do, you know. The scripture says clearly that, you know, he says, I, Yahweh, changeth not, you know. And every word that he speaks, that he uttereth, will go forth and accomplish the purpose for which he sends it out, you know. So that's that. That's 27. Okay. All right. So that's Isaiah 14, which is a prophecy that also has to do with the destruction of Babylon. And here we go. Here's another one. This has to do likewise. This is Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Come. And that's actually the result of nuclear weapons being dropped, you know. That's what happens. You know, just like in the beginning of Terminator, you know, when you dream in a dream about the Judgment Day. That's exactly how those weapons work, you know. It just destroys and melts everything at the molecular level, so that whatever is made of matter, it just decimates it at the atomic level. There's nothing left. It just strips it away. Eyeballs in their sockets, their tongues melt away right in their mouths. Yeah, that's what's coming. That's what's coming. That is what's coming. And it says here, in this verse, in verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Yeah. And that Jerusalem is his people, that have fought against his elect, that have, done evil towards his elect, his people, the apple of his eyes, It says in the scriptures, touch not mine anointed, do my prophets no harm, And they have been wicked, doing terrible, wicked things to us. They held the children of Yasharahla, and they would not let us go. And yeah, let me switch up to Joel. This is Joel chapter 3, and I'll read the whole chapter here. And it starts at the first verse. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Yahweh-Shaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Yasharahla, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And that was Esau, Edom, and the Amalekites, because they were the ones that financed the transatlantic slave trade. They financed the transatlantic slave trade, and then the Elamites, the Hagarenes, or the Arabian people, the Moabites. They financed the the sub-Saharan slave trade, in which the Israelites were taken into the lands of the Arabian desert, Sahara, and all that. So everybody's getting it. Everybody's getting a piece of it. Every nation that had anything that was confederate against us, all the nations mentioned in Psalm 83, which let me switch over to Psalm 83, and this gives the whole rundown of all the nations, all the ancient names of the nations that had anything to do with our captivity and had anything to do with us being scattered throughout all the nations of the world. And this is Psalm 83, starting at the first verse. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High Power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. And we are the hidden ones, because this world, by and large, due to replacement theology and the lies of the Israelites, those fake Ashkenazi Khazars that are in that land, really Amalekites and Edomites, those people are considered the so-called Jews, but we know that they are not. Revelation 2:9 says, let's go over there. Let's go over there. I'll come right back to Psalms 83 in a second, but let's go to Revelation real quick and get some context. And it says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And then we'll go over, and it's reiterated in 3 and 9 as well, where it says, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. And this is talking about the real children of Yasharahla. It's talking about the Amalekites that are posing as the children of Israel and are not. Them Ashkenazis, them Khazars over there that say that they are Jews, but they are not. And they do lie. Let's go back to Psalms 83 and continue. Because not only the Edomites and the Amalekites is going to get their just due, but everyone that had a hand in it. And I stopped at verse 3. Okay, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. And we're hidden because nobody knows who the real people are. I mean, the truth is coming out now of who the real people are. And the world by and large is starting to see that Esau, Edom is the wicked, and that these people are lying about who they are, and have been for some time now. Verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. And that's what they did. They cut us off from being a nation by taking us out of our land and transporting us and scattering us all throughout the globe as slaves. And because we had sinned against our power, they had the power to do it. As it's written in Deuteronomy 32, the song of Mashah or Moses, because the friend of Yahweh, the man of the Most High Power, he saw the entire thing. Yahweh showed him the entire thing, from beginning to end. That was the prophet that saw the whole history of what Yahweh was going to do with his people. Verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And that's what they did. They beat us. They beat our language out of us. They beat our true names out of us, our true identity out of us. And they scattered us to all the corners of the globe, so to speak. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, all of the nations. And you have to keep in mind that they hated us. Basically, you have to understand, when we came out of Mitzrayim, when Yahweh destroyed Egypt and destroyed Mitzrayim, he then did battle with every other nation on the planet in the known world at that time, in order to get us to the promised land that he had promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our forefathers. And in doing such, those people in those lands, which are named here, were worshiping false gods, false deities, and it was wickedness, in those lands because of the inhabitants of those lands. And so these are the inhabitants of those lands, the ancient names of the inhabitants of those lands. At verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. The Ishmaelites being, Arabians, the sons of Ishmael, right? Of Moab, which is the modern day, the Chinese, Asians, the Hagarenes of Hagar, Gabal and Ammon, which is the Japanese, Amalek, which is the Khazarians, really, and the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. And Selah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zebah, and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. And that's what's going to happen. Once again, the name of Yahweh is going to be made known in the earth. All the nations of the earth will know Yahweh, because it will be just as the deliverance of the children of Israel from Egypt the first time. All these nations that were named here began to know the name of the God of Israel, Yahweh. And so the most high power of Israel. So yeah, that's what's coming. That's why everybody's going to get a taste of it. There's not going to be any nation, that exists right now that's not going to get a piece of Yahweh's righteous indignation. All the armies that are gathered together in the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, that is how he's going to plead with them. When World War III, midway World War III, the missiles launched, Yahweh shows up. Then they're going to try to join forces and fight against Yahweh as if he's some cosmic alien force. This is what all this Project Blue Beam and the priming people with the thought of there's got to be aliens out there. There's got to be other forms of life in the universe and all this type of stuff. And this is why NASA was created. All this from the beginning has been for the time that's swiftly and approaching the day of Yahweh. That's why all that falsehood, that whole narrative of aliens and green men and all that type of thing, all of that has been solely for the purpose of when Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai shows up and the chariots show up, that the nations and the armies of the world will turn tail and try to fight against the Holy One. But we are the outcome is already written. It was already written. It was already done from the beginning. So yeah. So I mean, this was a short one, but I wanted to touch on these prophecies because as we can see, everything, all the pieces are being moved and all the pieces are being put in place to the point where, we're almost to that. We don't have many more prophecies to go. I mean, there are a couple. We know that the MOTD has to come. The Mark of the Beast has to come. The chip, the Neuralink, what have you, has to come. The transfer of all wealth from paper currency worldwide to a digital currency system, which is what they're working on right now, and they've got it ready to go. But they have to cause the calamity, and the calamity that's really going to cause this is this war and the famine that's ensuing because of what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz. We see that these things are going to cause hyperinflation. These things are going to cause a need for to be a financial reset, So, I mean, this was a short one. I just wanted to make this video real quick, do my due diligence to put out, this truth. And once again, all praises, all honor, all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors unto the elder apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom, Labakariam Shah, Yasharahla. That's peace to the elect of the nation of Yasharahla, Israel. And Shalom. I'll see you on the next one. Yes, 414-144. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.